Hi everyone, no matter what you use, smart money or technical analysis, the most important thing is to understand the logic of price movement. You will never be able to make money using someone else's strategy if you don't literally feel the stock market. In this video, I will analyze a couple of trades from the free signal channel and tell you about one non-obvious thing which you may not have even thought about. Well, let's open the TradingView website, but before I'll show you a trade which brought me almost 4,000 on a signal from a free Telegram channel. I want to talk a little bit about the structure of smart money and what is generally understood by it. Let's use a simple example. Now on an empty chart I'm going to draw you an ordinary, even perfect ascending structure. We have a top, correction, top again, correction, top, correction. It's a perfect ascending structure because every time the maximum on the chart is updated and the minimum is higher than the previous one. This is a valid upward structure, and each of these minimums are valid because after this minimum we have a move that updates the last maximum. But there are also moments on the chart where we have a top, we have a correction, we have a top again, we have a deeper correction which updates the last minimum, and here at this moment all people, all traders shouting that we have a breakdown of the structure, which means a change of the trend, which also means that everyone must enter in downside trades. First of all, it is a huge mistake because here we didn't have any breakdown of the structure because this minimum is simply not valid. Let's say in this picture this minimum is also not valid because we didn't have an update of the maximum from which this correction began. That is, the minimum will be valid only, I noticed, only if we update the maximum from here. As soon as we update the maximum, even with the shadow, this minimum is immediately confirmed. And let's say in this situation we can talk about the breakdown of the structure because we update the last minimum. And just here, the smarter, more experienced traders will definitely enter the trades on the downside. I mean the traders who knows this unobvious moment. Let's go back to the chart. What do we see here? We see a valid minimum because it is confirmed by the update. Even our automatic indicator is showing boss. It is basically at the same level as this boss, but in general it doesn't matter to us that much. The most important thing is that this minimum is confirmed. There is a move from the minimum which updated our last maximum. Before that we had other confirmed minimums. Let's say that this minimum is also confirmed because here we have updated the maximum value. I generally expect that when the stock market will approach the current minimum, which is valid after fixing under the horizontal level at 30.27, we will have a typical bear trap because a huge number of traders will see here. I understand it very well because here we have updated the maximum value and now we have a really deep correction. So here I'm writing that from the IDM zone we will have the first entry at the level of 30.26. IDM is just a zone where people are involved in trading. I mean this chart at this moment, let's scroll through it a little bit. At this moment this chart looks maximally short-like. Well, just maximally short-like because we have updated the last valid minimum. And now we have the breakdown of structure. The stock market is turning around. Look at what was the uptrend before. Of course, people will be short in here. A huge number of people will be short in here. And we have already opened the limit here. So let's open it at the level of 30.26. It is just about the update to this minimum. Of course, perfectly we should wait for the consolidation, but I'm putting a limit here. So we put the stop under this zone. I think we can even take it further away, but it all depends on your take. I understand very well that we are likely to continue the ascending structure on the older time frame, so I want that the chart will update both, I mean the maximum value. And based on the take, I realize that I have a good risk to profit ratio, so it would be quite dangerous to put a stop here. 1 in 5 trades can catch the stop, so I put it away. Where exactly it doesn't matter here, it all depends on your risk, but I trade with a minimum risk from 1 to 3. So let's see how this trade will be ended and how it will work out. Yes, the trade was a little bit delayed, we even returned it to our entry point, but in the end, on this signal, we get the result of 3,752. This trade we made on match 19. Let me open the terminal again, so that we can be sure of it. Here is the only one trade we had on match 19. Buying gold with slot equals to brought us 3,752 of profit. We played on the fact that all traders were deceived by a bear trap. I explained to you the principle of this bear trap. In general, the principle of this rather elementary trade, which took our limit very well and quickly enough, because of the fact that this is a 5-minute time frame. We reached the take profit. Let's now take another trade from 3,000 of profit, now on the euro-dollar asset. Look, this situation is somewhat similar to the previous situation, but there are a few important points that we will now analyze. We had an upward movement before this. Here we had a maximum. After this maximum we had a correction, but the valid minimum value was actually only here. This is where we started the upward movement, which updates this maximum. It means that the next correction ends at this minimum, because after this minimum we have another movement, which updates the last maximum. But as we see, we have a fading movement in the whole stock market structure. I mean that the impulses are getting weaker and weaker. And in fact, if you look here, we have updated this maximum only by a shadow. In fact, we have simply removed the horizontal liquidity here. That is, the stops have probably accumulated here, and we have removed them by this upward movement. But we haven't had any consolidation, so here I understand perfectly well that we have a reversal movement, which will lead to the fact that we will update this minimum anyway. So what are we doing? The entry point we can safely put on this breakdown of the structure. Here we have a breakdown of the structure in the indicator of smart money concept. By the way, I recommend to everyone to add it. It will really facilitate your trading. Just go to the indicators section or write the name of the author. It is Lux Algo Smart Money Concept. So on the signal we had a short just from this zone. I remind you again about the short, because here we have already the change of trend, because we have recently removed the stops of shorts. So no one is in the short right now. Most likely people here on the contrary see the long structure. They will enter the trade on the upside, and we will vice versa enter the trade on the downside, approximately from this level. We will put the stop accordingly behind this local maximum, and I put the take in such way when the trade will head from 1 to 3. So let's see how we will work this setup. Only now we take a limit trade. After some time the trades closed at the take with a risk of 1 to 3, and we earn 2,500 on it. Let's look at this trade. We had two positions at this day. On euro dollar we have 2,500, and on gold we have 800 of loss. If you want to get the same trades absolutely free, there is no need for you to pay anything to me. Please just follow the link from the description, write me, and I will give you access to the Signal group. Thanks for watching. I hope it was useful. Bye everyone.